Alrighty, welcome everybody. Tonight is going to be a little bit different for those of you that are watching online and are not part of my card class. Let me introduce myself. My name is Julie Brown. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. I do card classes and I do some in-person classes and some online classes, and I just wanted to open this up to the general public so everybody could kind of get a look at what I do in my classes for those of you that might be interested in taking a class. Hey Brenda! So for those of you that are new at this, if you have any questions while I'm going through this, just make sure you type in the comments any questions that you might have. But I do want to warn you ahead of time, this is an online class, so it is going to take probably about an hour and a half to possibly 2 hours for this video to be complete, because I am going step by step with instructions that I have sent out to those that have signed up for the class. But I'm just trying to give everybody kind of a good look at what happens in the class. So I've got to take care of some housekeeping really quick for those that are in the class. So if you'll bear with me, and then we'll get right started stamping and showing you what happens when you are part of one of my classes. So the first thing that I need to tell you guys, we are working with the Beautiful Autumn bundle, as you can see, and it is in the mini catalog on page 46. But before we get to that, let's talk about, for those of you that are in my group and that are going to be ordering this month, there is the hostess code. Also, if you're not in my group and you want to place an order and it's under $150, please use that same hostess code. To order through me, you go to juliebrown.stampinup.net. To contact me, you can contact me at juliescreativestampin@gmail.com. And then I also have a Pinterest and a blog page where I post a lot of instructions for cards. So please feel free to check those out as well. So I have an exciting announcement. This month, I was asked to be in an international autumn tutorial bundle. And what this is we ended up with 83 tutorials from around the world. And these all have pictures in them. And so I got to design one of the cards, and so they have a picture. They're in both metric and inches. And for anyone who purchases, makes a $50 purchase through me in any month, this started in August, so August, September, October, November, December, you will get the downloads to these. Again, there's 83 of these, and these are, we call it the Autumn Tutorial Bundle because it is all of the autumn, it's using all of the autumn stamp sets and bundles that are in the mini catalog. So pretty exciting. There are some beautiful cards in this. All right. So let me just, the other thing that I am doing tonight is part of what we're using is going to be the Gilded Autumn Suite. So there's a bundle, which is the stamp set and the punches, and then the Autumn Suite, the Gilded Autumn Suite is actually, you can see all of these beautiful cards. It's all of the paper and the ribbon and the embellishments and all of that that goes with it. So just so you know what we're using. So let's get started on card one. Again, if you're just joining me, this is going to be a step-by-step process, so it does take a little bit longer than my normal videos that I do on Tuesdays, but I just kind of wanted to get this out there and let everybody see what it's like to do an online card class. So let's get started. All right, let me move all of this. Again, we're using the Beautiful Autumn stamp set, and then these really cool, fun punches. This is what Stampin' Up! Calls a bundle. And so when you purchase it, you get the stamp set and the punches, or you can buy them separately. But this is what we're using. So hopefully those of you that are in the class have your sets out and you're ready. So when you do a card class through me, what you get from me is the kit. And so the kit comes in something like this. And so I'm going to go over this kit just to make sure that that you all have your pieces. All right. So we're going to go through this. And if you guys are on here, make sure that you're letting me know if you do not have any of these pieces, because it's kind of important. All right. All right, so you should have a little strip of the ribbon. You should have a, and you know what? I'm going to go in the order that I have them listed on your instructions. So layer 1 is this piece right here, and it is 1.5 by 5.5. Layer 2 is this piece here, and it is also 1.5 by 5.5. So those of you that are in the class, make sure you're checking your pieces as we're going. Layer 3 is this long strip here that we're going to be stamping on, and this is like 1 by 11. Layer 4 is this little tiny, very vanilla piece, and it is a 1/2 inch by 2.5 inches. So again, this is everything that should be in your kit. So for those of you that are just kind of watching, this is the type of stuff that you get in the kit. And then you should have a Cajun craze that is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. And then a very vanilla that is 4 by 5 1/4. And then of course the card base, which is crumb cake, and it is 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. So let's get started. So the first thing you're going to do is take your card base and you're going to burnish this edge. And burnishing just means you're going to get that crease in there really good so that your card stays closed. Okay, we're going to bring in our stamp set. And we're going to be using this stamp right here. Now, the one thing with my card class is because you're stamping at home, you do need to have the stamp pads, the colors of stamp pads. But I do have people that sometimes don't have the exact color, so they make do with a different color. The first color that we're going to use is Early Espresso. And we're just going to ink this up. And we are just going to stamp the top of this card base. So I'm just going across. I'm not being like exact on any of this. I'm just stamping. And I'm going to go ahead and do another row. I'm not sure that we need it, but just in case, I don't want to leave a big bare spot when we start adding. Okay? So in the instructions, this is your step 1 or number 1 instruction. Okay, also you guys will see me cleaning my stamps as I go, because I think that's something that's really important for you to get into the habit of doing, is making sure you clean them. Okay, so step 2 says layer 1, adhere to the bottom edge of the card front. Remember I told you this one is layer 1. So now we're going to adhere this to the bottom of the card front. And I am using the new Stampin' Seal adhesive. I know some people don't like this. I have not had an issue with it at all. I think it works great. So I guess it just depends on what's happening with your Stampin' Seal. I think there has been some defective ones out there, because I know one of my ladies actually had one that she brought it to one of my classes and it was definitely defective. So just so you know. Okay, so that was number 2. So number 3 says, layer 2, we're going to stamp several of the long leaf images in mint macaroon, and we're going to be using the 2nd generation technique for the solid stamp. And then we're also going to be stamping some pine cones. So this is your layer 2. And so we're going to bring this in, and I'm going to need mint macaroon. I'm also going to need this Early Espresso again. So I'm going to leave that right there. And these stamps are what we call 2nd generation. And what that means is it has a detailed stamp and then a solid stamp. And so I'm going to show you right now what the 2nd generation stamping is all about. And you do the second generation stamp when you're trying to get 2 shades out of the same ink. And this will make sense a little bit better in just a second. Let me see if I can put that on a, yeah, I can put that on a smaller block. Okay, so I'm actually using block C. And so I am going to come in here and ink this up full strength. And I'm going to, and I'm stamping off the page, but I'm going to do one of my leaves right here. So again, let me get a little bit closer so that those of you that are in the class can follow what I'm doing. Okay, I'm inking it up again. And I'm going to put one over here. Now you don't have to follow me exactly, but I know a lot of new stampers like to follow exact, so that's why I'm going slow enough that everybody can follow. We're going to do one right there. And you see that I am stamping off. I'm not putting these all completely on here. Oh goodness, I hope that didn't mess up my phone. Okay, so then we're doing one here. And we're doing one here. So I hope I'm still online with you guys because my phone rang and I hope it didn't. Oh, it did. It knocked me off the phone. Oh, I was afraid of that. How did that happen? So excuse me 1 second. This sometimes happens. This is what we call technical difficulties. And so let me... Well, it's showing active. Okay, I think we're still okay. Can those of you that are online, am I still going or did it pause? So if you're online with me, okay, so it looks like I'm still going because I can see it moving. All right, so I apologize for that. I thought I had the do not disturb, and the funny thing is we just got a new number on this phone, and so I haven't given it out to anybody, so the fact that someone's calling it tells me I got somebody else's old number, I think. All right, so I'm going to clean this stamp off, and this is what we call the 2-step stamping. Okay, good. I'm glad we're good. Okay, so 2-step stamping. Because it's the same color, I'm still using mint macaron, but I want a lighter version of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm coming in with the solid portion of this, and then I'm going to stamp off onto my paper, and then come in and line it up and stamp it like that. So let me bring it closer so you can see. So see how it did a lighter shading? So this is kind of a good technique to use when you don't have, like, you only have one shade of, like, you only have mint macaroon and you don't have another color that's lighter. You can make the ink lighter by simply stamping off your page and doing that, because you can see that first. See, the first detailed is darker because I did that with a full stamp and I didn't stamp off. All right, so we're just coming in and we're just lining that up. That's the great thing about the oh, I forgot to stamp off. Look at that. Ah! And that's okay. I can have some shading on there. It's okay if some of my leaves aren't exactly perfect. All right. See, I get to talking and then I forget what I'm doing. All right. So, and see, it's okay that that one leaf is, but see what it looks like when it's darker, when you stamp full strength? That's what it looks like. Okay, so there's the leaves. Now we're going to come in with the pine cones. Now the pine cones, I'm going to be using 2 different colors, so I don't have to stamp off. This, you're going to do this second generation when you're wanting a lighter color. So just kind of keep that in mind. Okay, so now we're going to pull in. We have, and just remember when you're doing the two-step stamping, you want, usually the solid color is going to be your lighter color, and the solid stamp, and then the detailed stamp. So see these two stamps? This is the detailed one, and this is the solid one. So I'm working with the detailed first, and this is going to be Early Espresso. So I'm going to come in with this, and I am just going to stamp a few pine cones on here. And I'm just kind of doing them wherever. So we're just going to get those stamped on there. Oh, let's see. Let's put one maybe off right there. And then let's do another one over here. And a partial one there. And then a partial one up there. And that should be good. Okay, so now, like I said, I'm going to be bringing in a different color, which is the crumb cake. And because it's a lighter color, I don't have to stamp off before I do it this time. So I'm going to grab my crumb cake. And again, we're just coming in and we're just, because these are polymer stamps, we're just lining that up and stamping right over that detailed. This is a lot harder for me when I'm doing it online because I can't get up on top like I really lean over a lot when I'm doing this in person, so that I can get it lined up a lot easier when I don't have anybody watching me and I'm not worried about sticking my head in there. Okay, so that's what we have right there. All right, so once we get those two things done, let's see what, I'm trying to follow my directions. Okay. It doesn't tell me to adhere this to the card front yet, so I'm going to wait and see. I'm going to be good and I'm going to follow my directions. But I am going to set this one to the side because I'm done with that one for now. So now I'm going to bring in another color. So the four colors that I'm using are Mint Macaron, Early Espresso, Crumb Cake, and Cajun Craze. All right. So now I'm going to take my strip. So step 4 says layer 3. Stamp 4 of the thinner detailed leaves in Cajun Craze ink and second generation the insides. Sorry. Goodness, I got something in my throat. All right, so this is the leaf I'm talking about. It's the smaller detailed leaf. So again, it has the detail and the solid. So again, these are two-step stamping. And I always do the detailed first. I know some people like to stamp the solid first. I don't. I stamp the detailed first. So it says we need 4 of these. So here's my Cajun Craze. So I'm going to come on here and I'm going to stamp 4 of these. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. Then it says to second generation, the inside. So where I'm using the same color, I'm using the Cajun Craze because I'm second generation. So I'm just going to stamp off and stick that on there. Stamp off. I'm not getting lined up really good because I don't want to get my head in the camera. But see how even when you get off a little bit, it still looks good. All right, let me see if I can slow down and do this a little bit better. Oh, I forgot to stamp off. But that's okay. I don't mind having some a little bit darker. All right, so there's those 3. Okay. So then it says, next, stamp 2 of the larger detailed leaves in Cajun Craze ink, and then second generation stamp those. So what I'm talking about here, and if I had known the names of these leaves, that would have been great. I know one's a maple, and I'm not sure what they all are, but now I'm going to be using this one here. So whatever that's called, I need to do some leaf research so that I use the right names. But I guess that only works for if the people that I'm demonstrating to know that those are the names of the leaves, right? All right. So, okay, so here we go. So we're going to do our full color in the Cajun Craze, and I think I said I need 2 of these in the instructions. So there's my 2. And again, I'm going to be cleaning as I go. So, and for those of you that don't know, this is the chamois that Stampin' Up! Sells. It comes this beautiful purple, you just need water to clean your stamps. So I am in love with the chamois from the time I saw it the first time. Okay, so maybe while I'm talking, let's see if I can remember to stamp off. And you'll notice too, I don't know if you guys are noticing, I kind of line up the bottom first, and then before I lay it, I kind of fold it down, which is opposite of what I've ever told you guys. Okay, thanks, Brenda. Hey, Mel. So the first leaf I did was an oak leaf. So is this the maple leaf then? Does anyone know the one I'm doing now? Is this the maple leaf? So I hope, oh, you guys probably didn't see that. I was down here, huh? I got to remember to, you know what? Let me move this camera so that you can see down here. All right, there we go. So what I was trying to say is that when I line it up, I do the bottom first, and I know I've told you guys never to rock your stamps, but in this case I do rock it down. So this is one of those exceptions. Okay, so everyone's saying yes, but okay, so this is the oak leaf and this is a maple leaf. Okay, see, look, I have all of my smart ladies on with me tonight that know this stuff. Okay, so then we are on, oh, I have that turned around, sorry. We are now on, we're still on step 4, but we're on B because we've done this one and this one. So B says the next stamp 2 of the large detailed, or I should say maple leaves in mint macaron. So now we're going to do mint macaron in those 2 leaves. And like I said, for those of you just joining, this is a class. So I am going a lot slower than I normally do. So if you're wondering, gosh, why is she taking so long? Because I normally, when I do my demonstrations, I have a lot of this work done ahead of time. But tonight, because it is a class, I am doing step-by-step instructions. So that those in my class, they don't always have to keep up with me because they have access to this video and they'll be able to go back and slow it down if they need to. Okay, so we're going to second generation stamp. And then this is what I was talking about. So I line it up here at the bottom, and then it kind of helps me lay it down for the top. So again, I'm going to second generation. And again, use second generation when you're using the same color of ink, because you're trying to get 2 different shades of that ink. Okay. Oh, you know what, guys? I just read my instructions, so I left out I left out an instruction, so just so you know. Then we're going to do the acorns next, and I left that out. So the acorns are going to be the next thing that we stamp. And I will tell you guys this. Sometimes these stamp sets that have a lot of little stamps in them, I tend to overlook them sometimes. And I need to quit doing that because I'm absolutely in love with this set. Okay, so we're going to do 4 of the acorns, and let me show you this. So the acorn actually has 3 pieces to it. It has this piece, which I consider the detailed piece, and then it has the bottom that will stamp into here, and the top, which is going to stamp into right here. Alrighty, so here we go with that. So like I said, this is a class, so if you guys are wondering why I'm going so slow and why I'm showing you every single step, it's because I've got ladies that paid for this class, and they're online to do the class. So I'm going to stamp 4 of these. Clean that off. And then this is the one time, so I'm going to actually, let me move that off of there. And I'm going to bring on the top of the acorn. I chose not to stamp off for this because I wanted this section up here to be dark. All right. Again, I'm going to line up my bottom and just kind of lay it down. So I'm lining up the bottom, laying it down, lining up the bottom, laying it down. And just so you guys know, you can go a lot slower at home and make sure that your alignment is exactly the way that you want it. Okay, I'm just doing this as a demonstration for those of you in the class and online that are wanting to see what do we do at a class. And just so you know, this is the online class, but I did this exact same class as an in-person class as well. So we normally do this, the online class, we definitely use the same stamp set for all of the stamps. And usually in my in-person class, we will sometimes use 3 different stamp sets because you can use my stamps when you come to class. So again, I'm using Crumb Cake now, and because it's already a lighter color, I do not have to stamp off. So I'm not doing 2nd generation stamping here. I'm just lining it up at the bottom and then I'm rolling it forward. So that's how I have the best luck with these 2-step stamping. For those of you that have got 2-step stamps and you've struggled with it, that is just how it works the best for me. All right. Okay, so let's move that. So now what we're going to do is step C. These 4 were step B1/2 because it's not on your instructions. Let me point that out. It is not on your instructions. So this one was step B. This is step B1/2. So now we're on to step C, and that's where we're going to bring in these fun little punches, and we're going to punch out all of these little images that we stamped. And I want to get that close because I want you to see that when it punches out, it does leave an outline around the punch. And the biggest trick to all of this is making sure that when it punches out, it doesn't go flying somewhere so that you lose it. Because you can see they pop right out of there. So I'm trying to keep track of these as we go. So this comes with the acorn punch and the walnut leaf punch and the oak leaf punch. I'm so proud of myself. I learned leaves tonight. Yay! I used to know what all the leaves were, but I started looking at these and I'm like, I was pretty sure this was the walnut one, but I could not remember what the other one was. Okay, so again, you're just going to line that up, and it does leave an outline. So let me bring it closer so you can see. It's going to leave an outline. That's the way that the punches are designed. So we are going to get all of these punched out. Now, I do want to point out, well, actually, I'll point that out in one of the other cards, because there's something really fun about these punches and the designer series paper that comes with the suite that I was talking to you about. So the this bundle, the Beautiful Autumn bundle, is part of the Gilded Autumn Suite. And so it these punches actually match up with some of the designer series paper in that suite. And we're actually going to be making a card later showing you how I actually did that. So we are doing 3 cards tonight. So, and because I'm showing you every single step, this is probably going to, some of you will probably take a nap, right? But remember, you can always come back and look at the video later, because I did do this one in a general open session. It's not in a private group. Normally, my online classes will be in a private group, so you actually have to purchase the kits to be able to see what I'm doing. Okay. I think I missed a step somewhere. I just didn't put it in here. Okay, so what we're going to do next, I'm trying to read my instructions. So that was section C. So we punched all of these out. And so normally my instructions should have told me as soon as I stamped this one to go ahead and adhere it to the card front. And you're just going to push it flush up against your layer 1. So this is layer 2 here. Sometimes I'm better at instructions. It would probably help if I wouldn't be trying to write some of my instructions late at night, right? When I'm tired and I think I have everything in there. It's kind of like when you you know what? I see a little one that I didn't get. So let me show you if you've already put adhesive onto something and you realize you didn't stamp something, use your silicone mat, because the silicone mat will all that adhesive that I just put on there, it'll pop right off of this without sticking. So I just realized that I didn't get that one stamped over there. Okay. That happens sometimes. You go back and you look and you see that you missed a little spot. But that, again, another good use for these silicone mats, because you saw that I put all the tape on there, and see, look, it's just going to come right up and it leaves all of the adhesive on the back. So I'm still ready to lay that down. The magic of the silicone mat, right? All right, so I'm just going to take this and I'm going to bring that down so that it is flush with the left edge and the right edge and the strip that's underneath it. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is build this card front. And actually, let me see if that's what I'm doing next. Okay, so my instructions say to adhere the ribbon to the card front, but I actually had a lady in my in-person class that showed me a really fun trick. So what I'm going to do is take this little strip here, and I'm going to bring in block G, and it has a little sentiment in here that says "Hey there." So we're going to use that one, and I lay these down. I lay this down so that it's straight, and then I pick it up. And it may not go straight on here, and if that happens, you can pull it off. But you got to be careful sometimes with these polymer sets, because they can curve, which makes it nice, because sometimes you want to take your sentiment and purposely curve it, but I don't want that with this one. So I'm going to bring in my mint macaron, ink that up, and then, as you know, I use my graph paper to line it up. Oh, I don't think I got that straight. Nope, I didn't. It's really hard for me not to lean over, so I'm going to lean over a little bit, and hopefully my head won't get in there, but I need to try to get this straight. Oh, much better. Okay. Ta-da! Alrighty. So I'm going to show you a trick, because when we're using our punches, we sometimes think that we cannot use these little strips because let me show you. So I'm going to be using the classic label punch. And so it's really difficult to try to get this in here because it's almost the exact size that it needs to be. And so I don't have any way to kind of get it in there and keep it in place. So here's my hack for that. You're going to take a Post-it note. You're going to just tear a little strip off. You are going to adhere this Post-it note to the bottom, which is going to allow you to then bring your punch in and feed it down the top of this punch and get it positioned the way that you need it to position. So, like I said, sometimes we don't use these little scraps because we can't get them into the punches. So I'm going to just punch that. And that's how you do that. And then I'm just going to pull off the Post-it note that's here. And voila, I was able to use this little tiny scrap that I had and use my punch with it. Yay! Okay, so 2 ways you can put the ribbon on. You can use glue dots and, you know, put the glue dot everywhere that you want the ribbon to sit, and that works great. But I'm going to show you something that one of my ladies showed me. So the other thing you can do is you can either use tear and tape, or if you have the Stampin' Seal Plus, which is a heavy duty adhesive, and I'm going to bring in my silicone mat because this adhesive is a little bit wider than my strip here. Let me make sure I have the right side. Yeah. And what you can do is you can just take this, even though I'm going to be popping this up, but this is a really heavy duty adhesive. And so to make it sometimes a little bit easier to do your ribbon, then what you can do is you turn this over and then you can just kind of stick your ribbon. And I kind of am going to look like how far down I need it. But then this kind of makes it easier to get your ribbon on because you can just form your bows or your loops the way that you want them. And it's sticking right to the back of this sentiment. So another little trick. But again, if you're going to do this, you need to either use tear and tape or this Stampin' Seal Plus is actually sticking to my hand. So that's kind of how I wanted it to look. But I didn't quite get it as short as I needed it. So I'm going to bring it in just a little bit. That's why sometimes it's easier to do it on the sheet. Or on the card front, because then you've got, you know, you're not going past the point of where you need to be. Because I had that too low and too high. All right, so that's kind of how I want it to look. So I'm going to bring in my snips and snip off the top of this. And then I'm going to bring in my dimensionals, and hopefully I have some, yes, I have some mini ones here. So this is one of those cases where you're going to use your mini dimensionals because this is such a small little strip. And I'm going to stick a mini dimensional on each end. And I'm going to adhere this on here. And I've gone a little bit off script as far as the process. I should have put my pieces that I punched out up there first, but we're good. Whoops. One trick too is don't push it down all the way until you make sure that it's straight in the way that you want it. Then you can kind of push down on the dimensionals. All right, so let's finish designing the front of the card. So basically what I did was I took one on the walnut ones. I just took 2 of them, and I'm just going to glue these periodically on here. So let's bring in our Tombow glue. And again, you guys know I don't put a lot. I just put little dots. So if there's anybody that's new, I'll bring this closer so you can see. It does not take a lot of glue, all right? It's very minimal. So I kind of want to cover this limb here, this stem that went out. So I'm going to stick that one there. And then I'm going to stick this one right there. And then I'm going to come in with my oak ones. And again, I'm just putting a little bit of glue. All right, so we're going to stick this one here and stick that one there. And then I'm going to come in with my walnut. Oh, see, I've learned them. I'm so excited. I know what they are now. And this one is kind of go down kind of in this section down here. And then we're going to put glue on this one. Whoops. And it's going to kind of go down here. And then my last little 2 oak leaves. Just so you guys know, card number 1 is the one that takes, it's got the most work to do on it, obviously because of all the stamping and punching out. All right, and then I'm going to come in with my acorns, and we are going to be popping these up on the front. Now what I just do with those, oh, don't you hate that when you guys lose stuff? So we're just going to take these little mini dimensionals, and we are going to stick those on the back of all 4 of the acorns. And then we're going to take those acorns and we're going to place them so that they cover the stems where I was having the stems touch on these leaves. Alrighty. So again, this was another set that wasn't sure if I was going to like it because there's so many little stamps in there. But these cards are stinking cute. Yeah, I'm in love with it now. Alrighty. So we've got it to that point. So that's going to be your card front. What do you guys think? Isn't that adorable? And of course, this paper is from the Gilded Autumn Suite. It's the Gilded Autumn Designer Series paper. This piece here. And then of course we stamped this whole piece right here. It looks like it's Designer Series paper, but we did that by stamping. Yay! All right, so let's finish the inside of this card. So it's pretty simple. I'm just going to come back in with my pine cone and my early espresso ink. And we're just going to stamp this one here. You know what? I'm going to move that over there. I'm going to try to get my chamois. I keep moving my chamois and then I have to go find it. So I'm going to clean that off. Close this one. Come in with crumb cake for the pine cone. For the inside of the pine cone. All right. And then we're going to use the oak leaves for the inside. And we're going to do one in Cajun Craze, and we're going to do one in mint macaron. Okay, so there's my Cajun Craze one. I'm going to go ahead and clean that off since I've got the detailed one on the block. Keep my ink pads open because I'm going to need those in just a second. And then there's the mint macaron. Okay, so now I'm second generation stamping because I'm using Cajun Craze again. And then I need the mint macaron, and I'm going to stamp off second generation and stamp that on there. And then we're going to use our inside sentiment, but I think I've got all of my little, I need a bigger block here. I'm sticking all my little stamps on these other blocks so that it's easier, instead of putting them back in the case, so that it's easier for me to get to. And then let me see. Yeah, I did the, so this, so on the front it says hello there, and then on the inside we're going to use the stamp that says have a beautiful day. So I'm going to just kind of lay that here, and this kind of got bent today with all the use from the class. So I'm going to try to pick it up really careful so it stays straight. Ink this up. See if I can not stick my head in here and still get a straight. I know you guys are saying, why aren't you using your Stamparatus? It's because I have so many other things on my workspace right now. And then I'm going to show you a little trick, because I had one of my ladies in my class that actually I tease my class all the time because they don't follow directions. So she had actually adhered this before she stamped, and I stamped off over here. So again, this is where your Post-it notes, if you have adhered it, you can take a Post-it note and cover this little edge here and here, and then do your stamping. If you'd adhered this before you stamped, because you should have stamped first, then you can pull it off and everything works great. So you guys are getting a lot of fun tips tonight, right? Yay! Alrighty. So we are going to, whoops. And again, when I adhere stuff like this, I try to get my bottom edges and my side edges equal, and then just kind of lay it down. And that I've had the best luck with getting things straight doing that. And then we're just going to take this one and adhere it to the inside of the card. And then our first card is done. Our second card is actually going to go really quick, because the second card we mainly are using the designer series paper for that one. All right, so card number 1. I hope you guys like it. So there's the front and there's the inside. And I want to point out, this looks like designer series paper, this little piece here, but we stamped that. We made that. So isn't that cool? How fun. All right, card number 1 done. So let me just kind of push some stuff out of the way, because I'm going to bring in card number 2. So for those of you that are following instructions, it is the number 2 thank you card. And let's go over what you should have in your kit. Oh, Mel, I'm so glad you like it. And Brenda. Okay, so, let me... there. I'm going to take you back out so that I can go over. So for those of you that have the kit, let's talk about what's in your kit. And I'm going to try to, again, do it by layers. So the first thing is your card base, 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. This is Early Espresso. Layer 1 is this piece. Now this is the designer series paper. Doesn't that look exactly like what we just stamped? But I want to show you guys something. These punches will punch out these images that are on the designer series paper. Ah, isn't that fun? So it punches out the oak leaf, the walnut leaf, and the acorn. Yay! Okay, so this is layer 1, and this is 1.5 by 5.5. Okay, layer 2 is a 3 by 3 vanilla, very vanilla piece. That was layer 2. Layer 3 is this designer series paper. So this is what it looks like. It's shiny on one side, and then the other side looks like that. And this is cut at 2 7/8 by 2 7/8. And understand, if you guys do a kit with me, you're getting all of this. Everything I'm showing you right now comes in the mail, or I deliver it to your house to you. All right, and you just have to have the stamp set and the punches. So layer 4 is this is that brushed metallic paper that comes in the suite, and this is 2.5 by 2.5. And then again, designer series paper, and we're using the shiny side. And this is 2 3/8 by 2 3/8. And then I had a 3 by 3, another 3 by 3 of this, and I already cut out the frame for you with the layering circle dies. All right, just so you know. So again, if you got the kit, it's already cut out for you, but I'm just telling you what I use so that you guys can make it later. All right, and then layer 7. And then see all of these. So in this set of paper is this 12 by 12 sheet, and I punched out all of these shiny oak leaves, walnut leaves, and acorns. And I actually ended up cutting out by hand these little tiny leaves because I didn't want them to go to waste. So the punches match that. And so in your kit, you should have a bag that has a bunch of those already punched out for you. But that was with that designer series paper. Then you should have a very vanilla that is 1 by 2.5. And you should have layer 9, which is very vanilla at 4 and 5 1/4. Okay, let's get started with this one. So again, you always want to burnish your cards so that they will lay down. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to adhere the ribbon to this piece of the design. This is layer 1, and we're going to adhere the ribbon to this. I'm going to use tear and tape. You guys can either, I've done strips in the back where I wrap the ribbon around, but this ribbon is really thick, so I'm going to use tear and tape just because I think that will hold the ribbon better. So I'm going to take that tear and tape and it tears right at the end. And then I'm going to bring in my silicone mat because I'm going to be working with, but you really don't need to with tear and tape as much. But I'm going to put a little strip of tear and tape that goes up and down on the back. Isn't this pretty paper in the back? Isn't that pretty? Yay! That's the hardest part about this Stampin' Up's designer series paper, is deciding which side do I want to use. But I'm going to put it up and down so that it actually will grab this ribbon when it comes around that corner. And then I'm going to trim that edge off and this edge off. Oh, another quick tip. If you ever get your scissors get really gluey, you can use alcohol, rubbing alcohol, and a little cloth to get the glue off of your scissors. So I'm just full of tips tonight, aren't I? All right. So again, I kind of use my bone folder to make sure it's going to stay stuck to the paper. So I'm just going to grab an edge and pull up the top part of that tear and tape. Then I'm going to look at how I want this to lay on here, and I want it right to the bottom edge. So I'm just going to lay that down. Then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to kind of burnish this back edge and try to get a hold of a edge to bring up. And then I am going to turn that. And I turned it at an angle because I didn't want it to like hang down uneven on that bottom edge. So I don't know if you guys noticed, I kind of turned it up at an angle so that it didn't like come out from underneath this section here. All right. So then I'm going to come in and I am actually going to take some Tombow glue and adhere the glue to the top of this, because I tried running, you could have probably put tear and tape again, but I tried doing my tape runner, but it frayed this ribbon and then it made it so that it didn't want to stay down. But I am going to use the Stampin' Seal Plus because this has so much dimension to it. So I'm just going to get that on there and then run it across the whole bottom. And then I kind of came off the edge. So if you ever do that, you just fold it up. All right. So now I'm ready and I'm going to adhere this. So step one is wrap the ribbon around the bottom edge and then adhere it to the top edge of your card. So that is what I'm doing right here, is adhering it to that top edge. I got stickies everywhere. And so I've got a little fray from that ribbon. Another suggestion is, and I didn't get the exact name of it, but I had someone here that sews, and they said that they use when you have ribbon that kind of the ends fray, there is a like a fraying glue that you can get from sewing departments in stores that will stop the edges of your ribbon from fraying. So I think it was Susie that told me that. All right, so that is layer one. So layer two is, remember, it was this one. So layer two says adhere layer three to this layer. So I'm just going to adhere this together. And I do not need the heavy duty Stampin' Seal. I can just use my regular Stampin' Seal. And again, I'm just going to get my bottom and left and right edges where I want them and lay that down. And then it says, adhere both of these to the front of the card about 5/8 from the top edge and 3/8 from the left edge. So I'm not going to measure it. I put the measurements on there because I know there's some of you that like the exact measurements of where I place stuff. I'm just going to eyeball it. And it's going to be kind of like right there. But I am going to bring back in the Stampin' Sale Plus because this is kind of popped up a little bit, and I want it to get a good grab on the front of the card. So for this one, because it's going to be attached to part of that ribbon, or it's overlapping part of that ribbon, I'm going to use the heavier Stampin' Seal. Okay, so I'm going to bring this in, and it's going to be about, I'm going to say right there looks good. All right, so I'm going to stick that on there. And then layer 4, which is the brushed metallic piece, it says to attach layer 5 to that. So again, I'm going to come in and I can just use my regular Stampin' Seal because I don't have any kind of dimension that I'm trying to stick this on. So we're going to just lay that one down on that. And then it says adhere to the, and then adhere both of these to the card front, about 1 3/8 from the top edge and about 1 1/2 from the left edge, overlapping layers 2 and 3. So this one is basically going to go about right there. And again, because we've got some dimension, some uneven places, because we're overlapping and layering, I'm going to use the Stampin' Sale Plus so that this holds in place the way that I want it to. Now, some of you might recognize this card. If some of you went on to Kylie Pertucci's International Highlights, I'm in a competition on there, and this was the card that I used for that competition because we had to do a thank you card. And I was in the middle of making this for the class when she contacted me and asked if I was going to submit anything. And I said, yeah, I just finished a thank you card. So this is the one that's on there getting voted on to see if I make the top 10 international thank you cards for this month. All right, so that's going to go like that. Then now, normally I would have put an adhesive strip on the back of this. The reason I didn't is because I was preparing for class and I was cutting 2 at a time. And so I was afraid that, because, you know, I have to get all the kits together, I was afraid that if I had the adhesive strip plus 2 of these brushed metallic pieces in there, that it wouldn't cut all the way through. So this is my fault that I have to do it this way, but if it was just me making the card, I would have used an adhesive strip on the back of this so that I didn't have to do all these little tiny dots. And this is where it's really important that you're just putting little tiny dots, because you don't want the glue to spread out really bad here on this one. Okay, so then this is going to come in here. And this is going to kind of go below that, but we want to leave some room because we're going to be layering on those. Oh, well, that was great. I just got glue everywhere. Exactly what I said I didn't want to do. So we're going to push that down. All right. And so now these little pieces, and so your number 4 instructions is actually telling you how I cut out this ring, but I've already done it for you, so that's why this was easy. Okay. And then layer 7 on your instructions tells you to punch out several of these. Again, I've already done that. But if you were making this at home with your own paper and stuff, you would have had to punch all this out. So now I'm just going to kind of, and I don't know if you can see this, but this paper, let me see if I can bring it closer. So it has both the gold and the copper colors in it, which makes it really cool. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of spread these out, and then I'm just going to start, again, putting these, and I'm just going to be covering this little bottom section down here of that circle frame that I did. Okay, so I'm going to put that one there. And then we're going to come in with an oak one, oak leaf. Let me get my tweezers. My tweezers are kind of like part of my hand now. And this one is going to kind of go higher up here, but kind of overlapping as well. So all of these are overlapping, so it's going to give you a real sense of dimension. And then so this one was copper, this one was gold, and then I'm coming in with one of the copper oak leaves. And that one's going to kind of stick up like that. And then I'm going to come in with a gold walnut leaf. And this one's going to kind of stick out over here. And I have an extra leaf, but I'm not sure that I need it. So I'm going to kind of just put these on here. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to need it. So then I'm going to take the copper acorn, and it's going to be glued down with the Tombow glue. And I'm going to try to cover some of these stems. And then I'm going to come in with my gold one, and this one's going to be popped up with a dimensional. And because it's really uneven, you might consider using 2 dimensionals. I didn't really feel like I needed to, but that's totally up to you. And so this little acorn's going to kind of lean in this direction. And then it's going to, so let me bring that closer so you can see. So it's going to pop up. Okay, so then I think I got, oh no, I think I'm following directions. So now we're gonna, so I had an extra piece, and if you had wanted to put it in there, you could have, but that's extra for me. So now I'm gonna come in with this, and I'm gonna come in with the thank you sentiment that's in this stamp set. And we're gonna be using Early Espresso ink. Oh, I gotta get a bigger block out here. All right, and then I'm using the Early Espresso ink. We're going to ink it up. Do it this way. Oh, always remember to sit your lid back on those, because they will dry out really quick, the tips of those. Don't think I've got that straight. I've got so much stamped on here I can't see my lines. Okay, so then I'm just going to come in, and I'm going to stamp the thank you. Let me clean this off. Is everyone still with me, or is everybody sleeping now? It's not bad. I think we might only go until, like, I thought I was gonna be like 2 hours tonight, but I just looked at the time and I think we're good. I think we're gonna get this last one done, because this one goes together pretty quick. So again, I'm going to use Stampin' dimensionals, but I'm going to use the bigger dimensionals this time. But you've got to be careful, because this is going to go right here, and you don't want a dimensional to hit your where the frame is. So your dimensionals are going to kind of be towards the center on this one, so that you're leaving space for it to kind of float over that frame, if that makes sense. Yay, Mel's still here. All right, so then we're going to just take this and stick that down. And again, I'm not sticking it down tight until I like where it is. So there's the front of that card. Do you like it? I hope you guys like it. And look how easy that was, just using, oh, Brenda's still here, just using Designer Series paper. But let's get the inside done on this one. So for this one, I'm going to be we're going to stamp a little bit here. So I'm just going to stamp some of the leaves up this edge. So I'm going to come in with, and I'm going to use, for the oak leaves, I'm going to use the mint macaron. And I'm just going to kind of put one there, put one there, and then going to put one up there that kind of goes off the edge. And then we're going to do our second generation stamping here. Oh, I'm so glad you like it, Mel. All right, so then again, we're second generation stamping. So I ink it up and then I stamp off onto the paper. Ink it up, stamp off into the paper. Again, ink it up, stamp off onto the paper. Try to get it lined up. Okay, then I'm going to come in with the Cajun Craze, and we're going to use the walnut leaf this time. And we're going to put the two walnut leaves right between the oak leaves. See, some of these small stamps are fun, aren't they? And like I said, that first card I did, you know, that center piece looked like the designer series paper. So we're going to have a walnut leaf there and a walnut leaf right there. And again, I am stamping off just a bit. And for those of you that are, if you're trying to, you know, keep up with me on the class, that's why you can use the pause button when you go back and look at it. But I haven't seen any of my class ladies on here tonight. I know that they were working, and so they may have to watch this later anyway. All right, so that's what that's going to look like. And I'll bring it closer because when I have all this stamping down here, or actually when I put it inside the card, you'll be able to see how nice it looks. And then it has another really neat saying or sentiment, and it says, "My heart is grateful for you," because this is my thank you card. And I'm going to do this in early espresso. Can you guys tell these are my colors? I've always loved earth tone colors. And so I was really excited to work with these colors. Because I love these colors. I guess it's fall colors. I love fall colors. Okay, so we got that punched in or stamped in there. Punched. All right, and then we're just going to adhere this to the inside of this card. And I just wanted to, you know, point out this card went together really fast. So when you use a combination of stamping with the sentiments and using the designer series paper and the punches, you end up with a beautiful card that you put together in no time at all. Whoops, I forgot. This one is the 4x5 1/4, and I don't have a frame. All right, so there's the front, and there's the inside. Yay, I hope you guys like it. Okay, card 2 done. Now we're on to card 3. So again, let me just kind of clear some, oh, I need to clean that. Let me clear some stuff, kind of push some stuff to the side, just so that I can show you what comes in the last kit. So again, for those of you that are just kind of watching and wondering why this class is taking so long, or this demonstration, it's because I'm giving you kind of a look into when you do a kit with me, or when you do an online card class, this is what it looks like. So you get everything in the packet, and the online class, you do need to purchase the stamp set because Stampin' Up! Does not allow us to stamp stuff for you. So you would need to purchase the stamp set that we're doing. All right, last card. Here we go. So again, this is all in your kit. So we're going to go over everything to make sure everything's in your kit. So this is the Cajun Craze, and it is 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. And I'll go ahead and burnish this right now so that doesn't slow us down. And then you're going to have layer 1 is this side of the, it's like the mint macaron with gold through it, and that's the opposite side. And this piece is 4 by 5 1/4. And then we're going to use this side now. Remember, we used that side a second ago. So now we're going to use this side. And this one is 2 by 5.5. And then you need a Cajun Craze strip that is 1/2 by 4. And you need a crumb cake strip, or you should have this, 1 by 4 1/4. Again, this is everything that you get in the kit when you do the online class. And then you have a very vanilla that is 1/2 inch by 3 3/4. And then you're going to have, oh, I got out of, wait, okay, so this is layer 5, and this is a 3 by 4. And then this is going to be the inside of your card, which is going to be 4 by 5 1/4. All right. So let's get started with this one. So it says layer 1, which is this one, adhere it to the front of your card. So that's what we're going to do. This one actually even though we're doing quite a bit of stamping on this one, it actually goes together pretty quick. All right, so this is going to adhere to the front of this. If I can get it straight. It's catching on one little section and it's not letting me straighten it out. Okay, there we go. Well, nope. Needs to come to the right a little bit. All right. Okay, so that was layer 1. And then layer 2, it says adhere. So this was layer 2. Adhere to the card front, centering. Okay, so that means I'm going to try to center that top and bottom. So here we go. So I kind of do that I turn it this way. For some reason that helps me to at least get this edge straight, and then I'll turn it and try to, sometimes this paper, because it's kind of got diagonal stripes, it does kind of an optical illusion. And so some people like to use rulers to make sure that they get that straight, but I'm just gonna, do it this way. Okay, so layer 3 is we're gonna punch both ends with Banner's Pick-a-Punch. So we're gonna bring in something that's not part of the bundle, and this is that Banner's Pick-a-Punch. And so we're going to be using this side, and so it basically says we're going to punch both edges. Now when you're using these smaller ones, and I know those of you that come to my class, you've heard me say this, so I kind of push it in from this edge, trying to get it inside that 1/2 inch guide. But I always turn it over. Whoops. I'm always going to turn it over and make sure that it's laying in there straight. Because especially the smaller ones can kind of tend to be off a little bit. So like this one to me looks like, whoops, now it's way off. I pushed it too far. So I just try to get it to where it looks like it's centered. And it's still not centered. Let me bring in it's off just a smidgen. Okay, so then I'm going to punch that side. And then I'm going to do the same thing with this one. I'm going to go from the front and push it in as far as I can. Then turn it over. That one lined up good. And then punch it, okay? So we're going to do that with this one. And then it says to set this one aside. And then it says to bring in layer 4, which is the crumb cake. Because remember, this banner punch we'll punch a 1/2 inch strip, a 3/4 inch strip, and a 1 inch strip. All right. So again, I'm going to stick that up through there. Make sure it's straight on this side. And we're going to punch. And then we're going to turn it this way. And punch. So I've got those two done. Okay. And so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to be using this again, so I'm just going to set it to the side. So then your instructions will tell you that once you've punched both ends, then adhere to the card front about 1 inch from the right edge. So it's talking about this one. And then we're going to adhere layer 3 onto layer 4 overlapping. So that's what we're doing next. So we're just going to put some adhesive on here. And it says about 1 inch. So I'm going to say about right there. And I'm going to try to keep it onto the designer series paper the best that I can. Actually, I think that needs to go over a little bit more. But it like touches the very top and I didn't get that straight. This diagonal paper, like I said, it sometimes it is helpful just to bring in, and what I'm talking about is if you have a ruler like this, you can actually bring it in. And so if you want the exact measurement, an inch, which look at that, I was almost right. But what this does is it helps you, you can just kind of lay this up against your ruler, and it's gonna lay that down there straight for you. Well, maybe if I can. Right, so that can help you get it. It still doesn't look straight to me, but I just measured it, so I know it is. So that happens, like I said, some when you have stripes that go a different way. Okay, so then we're going to bring this one and we're going to overlap it. And the way I do it is I take this little tip here and I basically line it up with where this comes together in the V up there. So now we're going to take this one, get our adhesive on there. And again, I just kind of line this up with the V on the so that's going to look like that, and that will lay down like that. All right, okay, so layer 5. So we're going to set this aside. So layer 5 is this piece here. Now I'm going to be cutting this out with a die in just a second. And we're using the Stitch So Sweetly dies. But I'm going to stamp my images first. But I'm going to try to keep everything towards the center because I know that I'm going to be cutting out quite a bit of this. And one thing that you could do is you could bring in your die. So this is the die that we're going to be using. So one of the things, some of the ways I've done this in the past is I will bring in a die like this, and then I just kind of set it there and get it straight. And then I'll just put little pencil marks in each of the corners because that kind of just tells me where my area for stamping is. So there's another tip for tonight. Yay! All right, and I'm going to bring you guys in, maybe. Okay, so that you can, so I don't know if you can see, so that you've got those little pencil marks. And so I know to try to keep all my stamping in that area. All right, so for this card, we're going to be using the pine cones and the oak leaves, and then some of the other leaves that you haven't seen yet. So let's get the oak leaves on here because I'm going to do those first. So I tried to do these kind of, make these kind of the center of my stamping on this one. And so we're going to take this one and it's going to go right here. And then I'm just going to turn that around and basically connect the stems like that. Ooh, that got blurry. Like so. All right. And of course, we've got to do our second generation stamping. So I hope you guys, if nothing else, you guys have learned how to do the second generation stamping because you've seen a ton of it tonight, right? So stamp off. Get my bottom lined up first. Stamp off. Get my bottom line down first. There we go. So that's going to be that one. Then I'm going to come in with my pine cones. And I'm going to put 2 pine cones on each side of those oak leaves. So we're going to bring this one in as close as I can to that oak leaf. And then this one is going to kind of overlap that one right there. And then I'm going to do the same thing, leaning as close as I can into that oak leaf. And then again, angling it just a bit like that. And again, we won't second generation stamp this one because we're using crumb cake. So let me grab the crumb cake. And we're going to fill in our pine cones. And again, like I told you, I kind of line up my bottom and then fold down the stamp. Again, for these 2-step stamping, that's what I have found the easiest, is to do it like that. And I know I keep saying the same thing over and over, but hopefully it'll sink in, right? If we hear things multiple times, supposedly it's supposed to sink in. So now we're going to use, so the 2 stamps that we're going to use that we haven't used to this point, because we've basically used everything but this stamp, and these 2 stamps in this one. So now we're going to use these and we're going to use this one. Okay? So, and these are little itty bitty baby stamps. These are tiny, tiny. Okay, so I'm going to come in with my detailed first, and I'm actually going to stamp all my detailed, and then I'll come back in and do the inside. So, actually, I need to do the mint macaron first because it's the closest to the center. Okay, so I'm going to do mint macaron, and I'm going to do some leaves here. And so I'm going to try to line this up as far down as I can between those pine cones. And again, turn it around and do the same thing on this side, angling it to the right just a bit. Turn it back around. We're going to do the same thing, trying to keep it angled a little bit to the right. Same thing on the bottom. All right. And I'm going to go ahead and do my Cajun Craze while I have this stamp out. Then I'm going to come in with the Cajun Craze, and we're going to go up just a little bit and make that leaf come up like that. And on the bottom, we're going to try to angle it to the left, trying not to overlap a lot. I mean, obviously they're going to touch a little bit. There's nothing you can do about that. So same thing here. Because when you're working in these little tight corners, you will end up overlapping somewhat. Okay, so that's clean. So now I'm going to come in with the second, and that we've got to do second generation because we're using the same color. So the mint macaron onto the mint macaron ones. So that one there. And this one there. Okie dokie. And then we're going to come in with Cajun Craze and do those leaves. No one's had any questions. Are you guys just kind of watching? And I guess when I'm doing it more like a card class, I'm probably explaining more of what I'm doing. All right. And then the last stamping that we're going to do on this piece is that other, you can see I've basically taken everything out of here. So now we're going to use this one. But I really just wanted to give you guys a sense of, you know, that's why I've used almost every single stamp in this set, because I wanted to give you guys a sense of what all is possible with this set. Even though they're little tiny stamps, they're making beautiful cards. Oh, okay, so Brenda, you're working on a card while you're watching and listening. Okay. Okay, so this is where I'm going to bring in my Post-it note, because I want like a few of these coming off of here, but I'm trying to stay within my pencil marks. So I kind of have to cover, because I'm only going to use the tip here. But just in case I accident, which I don't like to worry about like only putting ink on a certain part of the stamp. It's easier for me just to use my Post-it note and do this. And then, oops, I didn't get that. Oh, let's see if I can line that. That's going to be hard to line up. Oh, I did it. Okay. All right. And so this time I'm going to go more like up at that angle. So I'm going to put my Post-it note so that this limb is not going against what I've already done. And then I think I want to put one more that kind of goes, I think I need, yeah, I got to do it more this way because I need my coverage down there so it doesn't. All right, so I angled it like that, okay? So that's going to be on that side, and then we're pretty much going to do the same thing on this other side. So let's get my, for this first corner, so I'm going to kind of angle this one like that, ink it up again, and then kind of move this a little bit so that it's covering that pine cone right there, and also protecting the bottom. And then, you know what? I don't think I need another one. I'm going to leave 3 on one side and 2 on the other, and let it look like that. All right, and then always remember when you draw on your, and I'm trying to find, I don't know what I did with my good eraser. I don't think this is my good one. We'll see. I'm gonna go really light here. I have a really good white eraser that was laying here, and it has gotten buried in all of this. So we're just going to erase those dots. And like I said, I usually have one of those Pentex big thick erasers that I erase with. All right, so I'm gonna have to move some stuff because then what we're going to do is we're gonna come in and we're gonna use the our new cutter and the Stitch So Sweetly die that I just and I'll have to, let's see. There, let's get it out so you guys can see it. And again, I've explained this to you guys. This has instructions on how you do the die cutting is first, then regular embossings and 3D embossing. So this tells me I need plate 1, which this says 1, plate 2, and then I'm going to need 2 plate 3s, but in between the 3s, my paper and my die. So there's the first one. Then I'm going to bring this in. I'm going to bring my die in. I'm going to, I guess if I could have left, probably should have left those dots, but I might be, you know, I might move it a little bit. And then this is not the magnetic plate. I did just get my magnetic plate in, but I haven't unwrapped it yet, so not using it yet tonight. All right, so I'm just going to, I really like these dies too, these Stitch So Sweetly dies. These have a lot of really fun, if you guys don't know, here's what it looks like. So we've got these, all of these, and then we have all of these other fun shapes that you can cut out little words and do labels and stuff. So another really fun set. That's the Stitch So Sweetly dies. All right, so we're just gonna run this through. And you only need to run it once. And I've even found that to be the case with most of my detailed ones. I've only had to run them through once, which is kind of nice with this new die cutting machine. So let me just get that off of there. Stick that back on the die thing. All right, so then I'm going to pop this up. So I'm going to bring in my big dimensionals. And I'm only going to put them in the corners. So I've got 4. I'm not putting one in the center. I just don't feel the need to, but you know what? If you're one of those people that you don't feel comfortable unless you've got a bunch of dimensionals on it, by all means, put a bunch of dimensionals on. All right, so then I'm going to come in with this, and I'm going to offset this because I want to see this piece over here. But I am going to try to get like the same amount on the top and the bottom as far as centering that. Okay, we're going to come back and finish the front of this. Oh, okay, so I stopped looking at my layers. Okay, so the next step that I tell you is, oh no, I don't see them here. See, I was afraid. Oh, so I did have some rhinestones and I colored them in with the Cajun Craze Stampin' Blend. And so that's number 6. Then adhere it to layer 5. So let me show you what I did with these. So I don't know if hopefully my take a pic tool will work since I cut these all in pieces, but this is all part of your kit that you got. I've got it because, oh, there it took. Okay, so the biggest one I put right in the center here to cover up where those 2 leaves meet. And I'll get, oh, let me get this closer for you guys. Oh, closer. There we go. Let me see which way I need to go. This way. Okay. So see how that covers up that where those stems meet? And then this second one, again, this is kind of hard to get it off when it's just a little piece. So the second biggest I just put up there. And then so I did 3 different sizes, the big, the medium, and the small. And I just put them on like that. And that was the take a pic tool, if you guys don't know what that was that I was using. And then it says to stamp the sentiment in early espresso ink, and I believe I did use the Have a Beautiful Day again. Yeah, I kept it out. So, and you want to really try to get this centered left and right, because we're going to be running this through that banner punch. So it's kind of important that we get this. Now that I say that, I'm going to be all nervous and not get it centered. So I'm going to try to get it like directly in the center. Oh, I'm out of the screen. Sorry. Let me. Okay, I'm going to try to get it centered. All right. Let me clean that off really quick. All right. And then I'm going to send it through this banner punch. And hopefully I've left I don't cut off part of my words. Yay! It didn't. All right, so now I'm going to do it this edge. And remember, like I said, I always turn it over to make sure that it's straight on the back end. And then we're just going to punch that out. And yay! I got that centered pretty good left and right. And then I'm going to put some mini Stampin' dimensionals, and this time I'll probably go ahead and put 3. And pull this off. And then we're going to pop this up. I got to make sure I'm in your screen. And we're going to put this to the left side. And again, try to get that to where it looks straight. Oh, I think I made it go up too far. Then just push that down. Then for the inside of the card, again, we're going to just do a, this one I did bring in a different sentiment stamp set, because I wanted this. It says have a beautiful day, but I wanted it to say, I wanted a happy birthday one. So this is the Itty Bitty Birthdays stamp set, and we're going to be using this stamp right here for happy birthday. Because again, I just wanted a different sentiment. I wanted a birthday one. Another reason why I'm always telling you guys to, you know, we tend to look at all the beautiful flower stamps and all of that stuff, but it's really important to have the sentiments, especially you guys know which cards you do the most. So it's really important that you have, you know, if you do a lot of birthday cards and you do a lot of thank you cards, you want to make sure that when you're looking at sentiments that you buy something that has the sentiments that you use the most when you're doing cards. Okay, so I did line that up on my graph paper, and I know you can't really see that, but it looks uneven to me, so let me reline it up. Alrighty. And so while I'm finishing this up, I'm going to remind you guys of that autumn bundle, tutorial bundle that I got to be a part of. It was an international there that I got invited to design a card for. And so if you purchase $50 from me in product between now and December, you will get the download, and it comes in 4 separate downloads, but you will end up with 83 instructional PDFs in that file, and they're all with all of these autumn stamps in the mini catalog. And you have pictures and written instructions, and you have both metric and inches in those instructions. And it was a collaboration between obviously 83 of us demonstrators for Stampin' Up, we collaborated and put that together to try to help you guys, for anybody that's purchasing those sets. And I'm going to show you the sets in just a second. Oops, I need crumb cake. I'm going to show you which sets it includes so that you have an idea of which ones you will get instructions for. And we each did one instruction, like I said, with pictures, with written instructions, and they actually had people test our instructions and make sure that that what we said is the way that the cards went together. So just, you don't have to worry about whether or not you'll be able to follow the directions, because someone's already tested that for you. So if you're thinking about placing an order, you know, and you get really, and it's going to be really close to 50, you might want to make it at least 50 so that you get that tutorial bundle. So then I'm just going to come in with the mint macaron on this one for the leaves. And let me get the other one. We're almost done, guys. Thanks for hanging out with me. I hope you guys have enjoyed watching me create. I didn't stamp off. So we're going to stamp off the center one, and then we're going to keep the outside ones dark, just so that it's got a pattern. See, when I start talking, I mess up every time. And then we're just going to take this and we're going to put it to the inside of the card. So, you know, for those of you that have never seen what an online card class is, this is what it's like. You would get all of the kits in the mail, and then we would walk through just like I did tonight, and we would put the cards together. And of course you can ask questions. So there's our last card. Oh, let me bring it. Oh, wrong way. I always do that. Come on. Go the other way. It's not listening. Come on, go down a little bit more. There we go. All right, so here's our last card. Have a beautiful day. And then the inside is happy birthday. So I'm going to bring all the cards back in just so you can see. And these are the types of cards that we do for my card class. And if I can find them all, I set them to the side and I don't know. Oh, here they are. What I did with them. All right. So there you go. And of course we used the Beautiful Autumn with the punches that go with that set. And then the designer series paper, and I'm going to show you, it is on page 45. This is everything. I know those pine cone stamps are great, Mel. I love them too. But this is the suite. And with the suite, you get all of that designer series paper plus the brushed metallic paper that we used on this second card, and the ribbon. And I didn't even use the acorn trinkets, but that's part of the suite, plus the stamp set and the punches. And then if you turn the page, on page 46 is just the bundle. So this tutorial bundle that we did, it starts on page 44, so it will include the Gilded Autumn Suite. So it's going to include this one. It's going to include the Gather Together bundle. So there'll be some stamps or some cards that have been made with this bundle. There will be some cards made with the Autumn Goodness bundle. There's going to be some cards made with the Love of Leaves bundle. There's going to be some cards made with the Autumn Greetings bundle. Some cards made with the Life is Beautiful bundle. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stamp sets that are going to be in that tutorial bundle. And I can tell you this, that I have seen the bundle, and there is at least one, if not more, obviously more, of each of those sets. So this is what it is. It's called the Autumn Tutorial Bundle, and it contains 82 autumn fall cards, and some people did do some like 3D gift things in there, which are really fun. So if you place an order with me for $50 between now and December, you will get the downloads for those, and you will have those PDFs with pictures with the instructions. And so where do you do that, do you say? Okay, if you just go to juliebrown.stampinup.net, that is where you would place the order. And please use that hostess code unless your order is going to be over 150. If it's over 150 and you're not part of my card club, then you do not want to put in that hostess code. But guys, don't forget to go to my Pinterest page at Julie's Creative Stampin' and my blog and check out what I have on there. These cards with instructions will be on that blog later, probably in a few weeks. But you know, I would love to hear from you. If you're watching this on, let me switch over now. Sorry. Oops, I got to get rid of all this stuff. All right, sorry. If you're watching me on YouTube, please subscribe. If you're watching me on Facebook, please follow me. That way you'll know anytime that I go live, and you'll be able to, you know, chill out with me and watch what I do. It normally doesn't last this long because this was a card class, but if you guys are interested in, you know, getting in on online card classes with me, again, just you can email me. Let me put my information up one more time. You can email me at juliescreativestampin@gmail.com and let me know that you would be interested in. And then anytime that I get a set, I will let you know ahead of time what stamp set I'm using, and the price and all of that. So if that's something that you think you might be interested in, just give me a holler, and we'll get you lined out to do these, to receive these card kits and get you on online card making classes. So anyway, I know this was a long one, and it did go 2 hours, dang it. But guys, I appreciate it. My card classes always go 2 hours, so it didn't surprise me. I appreciate all of you guys hanging out till the end with me. Everybody have a really good evening, and I hope you enjoyed these cards tonight. I had a great time making them. So we will be checking out until Tuesday, when I'm doing just the regular, not a card class, but just my regular demonstrating of some of the other stuff in the mini catalog. Everybody have a good evening, and I appreciate you being here. Goodbye.